I'm Jeff Koinange, and this is Jeff Koinange Live. It is the story that refuses to go away. Gladys Boss Chalet versus Ahmednasir Abdullahi and the JSC. The boss versus the Grand Mullah. So far, the boss has been dealt a body blow, but she's vowed to go down fighting. But is it more about the JSC and the office of the Chief Registrar? Or is it more about the succession games of the judiciary? It is time to ask the hard questions. It is time for Jeff Koinange Live. It is the show you've all been waiting for, and it is time. Let's get things out of the way first. Of course, we want you to take part because it is a live show. Twitter, my handle is @KoinangeJeff. The hashtag is JKL. SMS line 22155. Let's get to tweeting and let's get to sending those questions any which way we can. Now, obviously, many of you have been waiting for the two protagonists on this same very bench. We had a similar show like this last week. Turned out to be a shouting match. We don't want that here. We want constructive engagement. So we tossed a coin to have each of them come one at a time. That's how we're going to do it, to try and get as much out of this and get to the bottom of what's really happening in the judiciary. So Ahmednasir Abdullahi won the toss. He's going first. Let's get right down to it with the Grand Mullah himself, the man who everybody loves to hate. And I tell you, a lot of scared people out there every time he opens his mouth. This is the second big casualty in the judiciary. The first one, of course, was former Deputy CJ Nancy Barraza. Now it's the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary's turn. She's been sacked, but she's fighting, going down with a fight. Time to talk to the Grand Mullah. Ahmednasir.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Same, thank you very much.
So, there's a 138-page report which you all compiled and put together, and you decided it's time to let go of the CRJ. Question, I guess the one question, what took so long? Or why did it come to such a large amount of money allegedly being siphoned off, embezzled, whatever you want to call it? Why did it take so much money for people to realize?
No, I think before I answer my question, I have to go back to, why I agreed to come to this program. I agreed to come to this program because Winston Churchill, when he said that if you don't stop telling lies about me, I will start to tell the truth about you. So I wanted to tell the truth about Chalet, and you sold the program to say that the three of us will be here. Now that she's not here, yeah. I think it's not fair to myself, it's not fair to the viewers, yeah. Because I wanted to look eyeball to eyeball and ask her the questions I would have wished to ask.
Yeah.
But, she's probably in one of the rooms in the hotel taking down notes so that she can rebut 1 hour after I leave.
Let me ask you this.
But it's not fair.
No, let me ask you this. Is it personal between you two?
No, it's not. It's not.
It's got to have been. It looks so personal.
No, it's not. But you see, this is what you told the viewers, that the three of us will be here. Yeah. Probably her in the middle here, and then we will ask all these questions. You
know what? It's 8 floors down. I don't want one of us heading.
Fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough.
So it took so much. Why?
No. You see, when someone runs an institution and there's trust, you always assume that things are working well. But there's always an eruption, even when a volcano, starts to erupt. And the issue in the judiciary was an issue like that. We thought everything was fine until there's a building called Elgon
Place
suddenly erupted. Then when it is erupted, it led one issue to another, and then we realized that what we are facing is a monumental scam perpetuated by the office of the Chief Registrar. We investigated it. We gave her the charges. We gave her an opportunity to respond. About 38 days. She responded 2 copies. There are 2 volumes I have here. The interim report and the final report. When we went through that report, the JSC unanimously reached a decision that she could not answer the issues to our satisfaction.
Okay.
We subsequently fired her.
I've seen the report, and she says herself that she did not admit to all these charges. She did not, the allegations. She didn't admit.
No, she, I mean, you know, you don't, I mean, she hasn't raised a white flag and say that I admit. But when you look at the answers she gave, I mean, she's not, she doesn't answer the issues. I mean, she said, oh, this is a standard practice. When you tell her, for example, why did you pay 6 months deposit, security or deposit? I mean, it never happens. She said, that's the standard practice. Why did you do this? That's normal procedure.
Isn't it standard practice? Paying rent, paying securities?
Not the kind of rent we are paying, or the kind of security we are paying, or the kind of second-hand furniture we bought for 35 million shillings.
But you know, at the same time, if someone had raised the red flag earlier, someone could have said, you know what, there's something wrong over here. It didn't have to take Elgon Place to raise a red flag. Someone should have been
better late than never, really. You know, I mean, we have raised. I mean, the red flag was raised at a certain point in time. We did a proper investigation of all the issues, and she couldn't answer. I mean, it is there for Kenyans to see that the answers she provides are unsatisfactory.
If indeed this money is found to have been missing, how come there haven't been any criminal charges pressed against her?
No. That, you see, the criminal charges come at the end, and it's not for the JSC, you know, to initiate that criminal process. What we have done is that we have gathered the evidence. We have taken her out of the way. We are giving that evidence to the necessary bodies like the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission. They will do their own independent investigation. If they found that there are criminal case, then they will recommend that she be charged for a criminal case, and then that process will start.
So you say if, so there may not be any criminal allegations there?
No, I'm saying, you see, that commission is independent of us, you know. It will make its own judgment on the evidence we give to it, you know. It's not must that they will agree with what we say. There's a possibility they may charge her with more offenses.
Okay, let me ask you this. When you were interviewing her for the job of Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, you were one of the people who fought for her. In the beginning, fought for her. Were you wrong in your judgment?
No, I was not wrong, because, you know, when you interview someone, you interview according to her background. First, we interviewed her for Deputy Chief Justice. And I'm the one who advised her that when I looked at her, I mean, she wasn't that caliber of a Deputy Chief Justice. So we advised her right there that because she said she knows something about administration and computers, we told her to apply for registrar. We'll consider her. We considered her for that job. We recruited her. But even at that point, it was a very difficult process, because the commission was divided right at the middle, whether she was suitable or not. But the majority of us thought she was the right candidate, and that's why we gave her the job.
And you fought for her?
Yes, because the credential is suited the office of the Chief Registrar, yes.
So what could have gone so wrong? What in 9 months, in this time, what could have gone so wrong?
But you see, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. We gave her a job, we told her to perform, then she failed to perform. So when a person fails to perform, you don't keep her on the job just because you are happy with her when you recruited.
But she says she was one of the most highest performing officials in the judiciary.
That's her own judgment. The employer which I sit, you know, the JSC is her employer, has a different opinion about her, and that's why she was fired. Her performance is a danger to the judiciary. That's why we removed her.
Chief Justice called her a liar. Is he wrong? Why did he say that?
No, it may be a strong word, but that's the truth, really, because she has been lying for the last 1.5 months, constantly, you know, one lie after another. Even when we unanimously removed, she had the audacity to come live on TV, I think this TV station, and said that her dismissal was not unanimous. Not one member of the JC disagreed. Everybody agreed that she is no longer suitable for this job, and that's why we removed her.
And how come only 4 of you or 3 of you were behind the CJ the other day in the press conference when he announced her sacking?
Actually, everybody left. I was called from my office because it's near the office of the CJ. But you see, that statement was read 4 hours after we made the decision, and 2 hours after she was served with her dismissal letter.
I have emails here, Ahmednasir, which I know you're very familiar with. Thousands of emails which were leaked from the CJ's office. Everything about, I guess, something called a war council. And the CJ being the general in all this.
Let us first contextualize this email. You are the third person who has this email. There are only two people in this country who had these emails. Gladys Shole and KTN.
I got these on the net. They're on the net.
Which website?
Standard Digital. Anyone can get it.
Yes. Standard, that's what I'm complaining about. So, that someone can have the audacity to hack into the email of the Chief Justice and brag about it. You know, what the Standard is doing is what the News of the World did. This is typical Robert Murdoch modus operandi. To hack into emails, to publicize it, and to perpetuate a criminality. This is a criminal offense.
But
wait.
Okay.
That, you know, that a man and his wife can hack into an email of the Chief Justice, publish in the newspapers, and publicize in the TV is a most outrageous and obnoxious conduct that a journalist can perform.
Are you accusing Gladys of hacking into the CJ's email?
Let her tell us where she got it, you know, and who gave it to the Standard.
Are you saying these are hacked emails?
Of course, these are hacked emails. Doctored.
There are
edited.
No. Well, there are forensic experts out there. Forensics who know how to determine whether these are hacked or not.
I'm telling you, they're hacked.
What makes you think they're hacked?
Because they're edited. If you look at these emails, I mean, these emails attack almost everybody. The CJ is not stupid to say the kind of things that are in these emails, you know, about Makawa Mutua, about myself, about the speaker, about all these people. So someone has gone into his email and then edited it. And that's possible, you know.
You actually believe that?
Absolutely.
Okay, there's something in the email that talks about banking fraud in the judiciary. Someone walked into CFC Bank, cashed a check for, I think it was $500,000 or something, and then was waiting to cash another one for 10.5 million shillings until someone made a phone call to Gladys Shole, and she raised the flag.
No, you know, that matter is still under investigation. When it came to the JC, we said, until you do a proper investigation, don't charge any of the employees of the judiciary. The officer in charge still took those people to court, and when we asked him, he said he was forced. That matter is still under investigation. There is a theory, I don't know whether it's true or not, that actually no money was stolen, and this was just to create some publicity or something like that.
So you actually believe that?
Absolutely.
You know, it seems very unfortunate that this happened, but you all let it. Everybody is culpable in this. All of you, in the 11 members of the JSC, you're all culpable. You let this happen under your watch.
No. You see, we are culpable to the extent that the duration it took for this fraud to happen was fairly long. But when we realized that there is fraud, I mean, we put the hammer down, we stopped everything, we did a proper investigation, we unearthed so much, and finally we fired her. So we have done our role.
But it's not over yet.
No, it's not over yet, because Shole makes the point that, you know, we are not experts in financial management, so we don't know this thing. But if 11 laymen and women in the JAC have unearthed this fraud, and we claim that 2.3 billion has been lost, imagine when a proper forensic audit is done by, for example, Pricewaterhouse or Deloitte. I mean, it may go higher.
Something that should have happened in the first place, correct?
No, it will happen.
Huh?
It will happen.
Okay, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about succession in the judiciary. That all this is leading to the succession, because the Chief Justice retires in less than 4 years. The Deputy retires in less than 3 years. There's a succession, and that's what you all are doing. You're paving the way for succession.
No, but the first term of His Excellency President Uhuru is ending in 2017. William Mutunga is retiring in 2017. Why don't we talk about succession in the State House?
Because he's not retiring.
It's premature, really, to talk of succession. I mean, there's no succession politics in the judiciary. 2017 is, I mean, it's quite far. And the people are working their normal stuff.
Okay. Which brings me to my next point, and that is Ahmednasir Abdullahi wants to be the next Chief Justice.
Why does he want to be the next Chief Justice?
This is what you've always wanted.
No, it's not true.
You don't want to be. You don't want that job.
No, I don't want to. Why should I be a Chief Justice? I have better things to do, which I'm doing. I've said many times that I will never work in the judiciary. Not as a High Court judge, not as a Court of Appeal judge, not in the Supreme Court, not in the Chief Justice. I have said that, and I keep my word. I don't want to work in the judiciary. I want to have the freedom I lead. I want to do the small things I do. I'm not after a grand office or, I'm not greedy for power.
You're just a grand mullah.
No, I'm content with what I am.
Which is what? Sitting with the JSC, 400 sittings, by the way, 400 sittings at 80,000 a pop. Do the math on that. That's a lot of money.
There are 10 constitutional commissions in this country. JSC is one of them. We are the only constitutional commission that does not take a salary. Other commissioners take 750,000 a month. They have either a Brad or a Land Rover Discovery. They have a police driver or a policeman. They have AP at home. At home, I have Lavington Security that looks after me. I don't have a car and I don't have a policeman. And I don't take a salary. The salary, the allowances we take, citizen allowances, was because since we joined the judiciary, we have recruited 1,500 employees. Sometimes we are sitting a whole week, either to interview people for the office of the Chief Justice, the Deputy, Judges of the Supreme Court, the High Court, or the Court of Appeal. So once we are through with that process, and this month was the last, we will not be sitting as often as we do. But even still that, if you look at, for example, the money I got the last 3 years, it runs to 10 million. When you divide by 36 months, you do your numbers, it's less than the 750 the other constitutional commission take every month. So JSC is the cheapest constitutional commission in this country.
Okay, at the same time, the JSC was supposed to meet and report or, send a policy to Parliament, to members of Parliament in the sittings that you have done.
Yes, we have done that.
You haven't sent any policy?
No, we have done. We are obliged in law to give an annual report to Parliament. Actually, the judiciary is only accountable to Parliament because we report to Parliament annually, and also in terms of our budgetary allocation, Parliament does an oversight role. Yes.
Last time the parliamentary committee called you all in, you refused to go.
No, that one we refused to go because they were asking us about why we are disciplining Cholet the way we were doing. They have called us now on Friday of another matter because there is a person from Meru, I think, who has petitioned that we should be removed. So all of us are going there in obedience to that summon. So there are on certain issues we are accountable, and certain issues we think we are independent from Parliament.
At the same time, there's some people down there in that parliamentary building who want to get rid of some of you.
That's their choice.
That's their choice?
Yes.
Your term comes up December 31st. LSK has to have elections. You're one of the names they don't want to return.
No, you see, it's not LSK that determines who represents the lawyers. Mm-hmm. It is the lawyers themselves who vote. Last time when I was contesting, we were 17 candidates. I was one of them. I got 50% of the vote. The other 16 shared the other 50. There is one candidate who did not get even a vote, and I normally make the joke that he voted for me. So I'm contesting again.
If they push to remove you?
Nobody can remove me. It is if members don't elect me.
Correct.
Yes.
But I'm saying Parliament.
Yes.
They have this move. They want to push to remove some of the JSC members. You amongst them.
Yes, if there are grounds to remove us, the Kenyan public will judge and say that why are you removing 6 out of the 11? But if there are no grounds, again the Kenyan public will see that there is politics in play, but it's the Kenyan public to make judgment at the right time.
Bottom line, and I'm going to ask you this, I asked you earlier on, what is it about you and Gladys Cholet? What is it?
Nothing. There's nothing personal. If you ask the commissioners, because I was chairman of the finance committee, I was very supportive of her. We had an excellent working relationship. Actually, she had an excellent working relationship with 99% of the commission. It's only that when we found this, you can't close your eyes on such kind of a scandal, even if you are very good friends or you are working very well with her. When this kind of a scandal occurs, like this one, I mean, you can't close your eyes, and we acted upon it. So there's nothing personal. I mean, Gladys Sholay was just a registrar. I mean, she was not the Chief Justice or the Deputy Chief Justice. And that is, we took her through the process and we removed her.
Yeah, but now we're hearing reports that her entire office has been shut. Even though you removed the chief official, her entire office has been shut down and her staff told to go home.
No, it's not true. The staff is not our staff. The staff are the employees of the judiciary. They are still working. Nobody will be victimized because she was working in the office of the registrar. The only office that was locked is her personal office in order to preserve certain documents when the Key Anti-Corruption Commission visit. She can still access under supervision or remove her personal belongings under supervision.
Her own staff is saying they've been told to go home indefinitely.
It's not true.
You deny that?
Yes, it's not true. Not to my knowledge. Not today.
You think the judiciary has been dealt a tough blow by this?
To the contrary, I think the judiciary will come out of this much stronger. It will show Kenyans that, there are processes and procedures. When someone does something, there's no victimization. He's not chased in the middle of the night. I mean, you take people through a process, and if they are found to be guilty, you fire them. If you find them to be innocent, you tell them to continue with their job. And that's what we have done.
Is there a chance Gladys Sholay will be innocent at the end of all this?
Only a court of law can declare her innocent or guilty. But from our point of view, there is enough culpability to terminate her contract of employment.
Do you think you guys have become the be-all and end-all, the JSC?
How?
You guys, you determine someone's life, or you're sending shivers down the corridors of the judiciary.
We have 5,000 employees. 5,000 employees. I mean, if you look at the people we have fired, maybe they're only 10. So it's not even 1%. But when you do something wrong, no matter how high you are, no matter how low you are, there is something called due process. And that's why we removed the former Deputy Chief Justice and the registrar. There is no one who is bulletproof in the judiciary.
Even Ahmednasir Abdullahi?
No. No one is bulletproof.
Do you think this could come back and bite you? Because there are a lot of people, a lot of tweets, people out there who say, you are one arrogant guy, you know that?
Let me tell you, Jeff, when you have a deputy registrar who claims allowances for 66 sittings, do your numbers, time is 80, 66 sittings, when she did not sit, a registrar who forges documents to show that she has sat for those and claims such a colossal sum of money, how can someone be wrong if you fire her for that? I mean, that's obtaining money by false pretense. It's a very common criminal conduct of someone claiming money when they have not done job. I mean, the amount of allowance I'm claiming that I've taken are allowances I've earned. I've spent days there doing the work I was told to do. But imagine Gladys taking 66 days sitting allowances when she was not sitting in that board.
Is she the only one?
Absolutely. The only person who has ever done that in the JSC is Gladys Boss Sholay.
You have never forged a receipt for fuel, let's say?
No. How can one forge an attendance fee for the meetings of the Judicial Service Commission and get 80,000? Again, look at it. She has taken 8 months salary advancement. If you want to take...
Which is not against the law.
No, it's
not against the law.
No, it's against the law.
No.
Let me tell you. If you want to borrow money... Assume she earns 800,000 a month. Times 8, that's 6.4 million. How much interest will you pay the bank if you take that money? But if you are taking that kind of money, why don't you borrow from the banks?
She said she only took 3 months advance.
3 months.
And she's paid most of it back.
No, that's 3 months initially, then 5 months again. The 5 months she has not even paid up to now. And who approved her advance? Herself. How can you approve your own advance? You know, there are systems, there are checks and balances. I mean, if you look at all these issues she is facing, you will show that there's a fundamental ethical problem with her conduct in terms of running that office, which we found makes her stay untenable.
Bottom line, Ahmednasir, why is it that the two senior most people in the judiciary who were sacked from their jobs just happen to be women?
That's pure coincidence. The judiciary actually is very, very woman-friendly. We have a lot of women we have one woman in the Supreme Court, 2 women in the Supreme Court. One of them is the Deputy Chief Justice. We have about 8, 9, or 10 actually in the Court of Appeal. A lot of women in the High Court, a lot in the Magistracy. All this was not there previously. The JSC has a conscious decision to ensure that women and minorities are adequately represented at all levels.
You didn't answer my question about the arrogance, Ahmednasir. Why is it?
Do I look arrogant?
Who do you come across?
But do I look arrogant? You tell me.
I'll tell you what.
Yes.
I would not want to be on the other side of the bench from you. Would not.
I'm comfortable being on the other side of the bench with you.
Why is it? You scare people, you know that?
No, I don't know.
You do. You scare the out of people.
I don't. Ask the guys here.
Yeah, look at them. They're shaking in their boots. What is it? What is your ultimate goal? What do you want to do? Other than be CJ?
No. I'm happy with what I'm doing. I want to go to the media, to have my show like this one day.
You see, you're evading.
No, seriously. I don't want to work for government, not on a permanent basis. I mean, if I'm given a temporary job, I don't mind sitting in a board or something like that. But I don't want a permanent government job. I mean, I don't want people saying that, all these kind of things. I want to be as free as I am, in a small law firm, publishing my 2 magazines, probably add a 3rd one before December, God willing. Those kind of things. That's what I enjoy most.
You don't want to run for any public office?
No. Not me. Those people who fear I may run for office, I want to assure them again that I will never run for a public office. I don't want people to have nightmares about me. You say I'm scary.
You scare people.
Imagine if I hold a public office, Imagine me as a Chief Justice. They will do a investigate on it.
In your building. What happens to Gladys Bosch-Chalet now?
Actually, the fate of Gladys Bosch-Chalet is out of our hands. It's now in other law enforcement agencies. I mean, she's facing, if I was her, I would look for a very good lawyer, because I think she needs a very good lawyer. I mean, the issues that face her are very huge. Look at, for example, Elgon. Elgon will cost the judiciary over a 10-year period 1.5 billion. ICA building is up in the market. I think it's 1.9 billion. Imagine paying 1.5 billion in rent over 10 years period. That is the most stupid or silly mistake we can make as a judiciary, to spend 1.5 million in rent. Why don't we build our own building at a cost of 500 million so that we save 1 billion of the exchequer? I mean, there are some things that don't make sense. We bought a telephone system for 60 million. When we wrote to, and the documents are here. The documents are here. Yeah. When we wrote to Cisco Systems with the serial numbers to ask for, warranties, they said, but how can you ask for warranties? This thing belongs to someone else. Which means that 60 million we have paid, we were either paying for stolen property or for second-hand goods. I mean, a CEO that makes such fundamental mistakes, I mean, how can she remain in office? We have bought furniture from Price Waterhouse, like this, 10-year-old furniture.
This is not 10 years old.
Old furniture, 35 million shillings.
And yet you refer to her as a girl in your tweets, Ahmednasir?
Metaphorically, it was figuratively. Not literal,
There's also another tweet that asks, is Ahmednasir the lawyer for Al-Shabaab?
Al-Shabaab never, I don't think Al-Shabaab has a lawyer. I mean, they're outlaws, they're renegades, I don't think they need lawyer, because if they need lawyer, they will have taken advice on the kind of heinous jobs they do. Yes.
Bottom line, if you were to do this all over again, would you have recommended her to do, would you have guided her differently? As in, she shouldn't control all the finances and do the kinds of things that she did?
No, actually, when I look back at the kind of things she have done, how widespread they are, how many they are, how grave they are, I think there is a bigger problem than we really think. I mean, because there are so many things. If you look at all these issues, look at, for example, what the Treasury auditor said when he was auditing our accounts for 2012. He said the judiciary accounts are distorted, inaccurate, and cannot be relied on by stakeholders. I mean, that's an indictment. When you are CEO and the auditor makes that kind of statement, it's a very huge indictment. So I think, if I look back, I mean, Shole was just not qualified for this kind of job. I mean, she did not have the capacity to handle the kind of money that the budget of the judiciary provided.
Which comes back to my original point. You all are culpable. You gave her the job.
Yes, I think.
Eyes wide open.
No, I think I admit we made a wrong decision. Yes.
And now it's time to right the wrong.
Yes. That's why we have fired her.
She gonna go to jail or will she be exonerated?
I don't know, but if she's, woman, there's the Langata women prison. I don't know whether she will go to jail or not. I don't wish anybody to go to jail. But the law must take its course. This is public funds. This is huge amount of money. I was even looking at some issues, like, for example, look at the office, look at the house for the CJ. 1 acre in Runda, 5-bedroom house with a swimming pool. How much will it cost? Maximum 150 million, if it's out of the world.
Yeah.
We paid 320 million. 320 million, 1 acre in Runda. I mean, that's crazy. Even the lawyer's fees she paid, all those.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very unfortunate. It was like a gravy train, really. That.
Final word. If she's watching you right now, look in that camera there, what would you tell her?
I'll tell her, get a good lawyer. She needs a lawyer for the long journey that's ahead of her. Because it's a journey with a lot of legal minefields. But I wish her well as a person. Thank you very much.
Grand Mullah.
Yes. But next time we must have the three of us, It's not fair for her to be writing notes and then answering my question later on. I would have loved if she was here so that I could look her in the eyes and tell her to tell the truth, because the truth will save her.
Nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth.
Ahmednasir Abdullahi, the Grand Mullah himself, talking like he always does. Call him arrogant, call him what you will. He comes up and he comes fully prepared. This is the bench you have been asking for. I haven't even had time to read your tweets, but we're going to do that very shortly. We're going to take a break. Come back. It's time for the other side of the story. Stay tuned. Do not even think of touching that remote control. We are live above the CBD at the rooftop of the Intercontinental. Jeff Koinange Live returns in a moment.